Detective Geathers, people remember the body falling from the roof. Where did it begin?
It began above the body, not below it. That's the first thing I understood when I stepped into that courtyard. People always look at the impact point as if gravity tells the story. But gravity only finishes what someone else has already decided. When I arrived, the crowd was already forming its version of the truth. Windows were open, silhouettes leaned outward, voices carried downward in fragments. The building itself felt like it had inhaled sharply and forgotten how to exhale. But none of that mattered to me yet. I wasn't interested in the reaction. I was interested in the intention. I went up. The roof told the truth more quietly than the courtyard ever could. The access door wasn't locked, which in a NYCHA building isn't unusual. Locks fail, repairs lag, and access becomes something residents understand long before management does. But the surface near the ledge was wrong in a way that didn't announce itself loudly. There were scuff marks, subtle, controlled, not the chaotic imprint of a struggle, but something more deliberate. One deeper mark where pressure had been applied, one shorter shift that suggested resistance, and then nothing. That absence of chaos is what disturbed me. Violence had occurred, but it had not spread. It had been contained. That's when I knew he hadn't jumped. He may have understood what was happening in the final seconds. He may have seen the edge, felt the air shift, realized that something irreversible was about to happen. But that understanding came too late to matter. The decision had already been made for him, and it had not been his.
So if he didn't jump, what did the witnesses give you that helped you understand who else was there?
They gave me fragments, which is all witnesses ever give you in the beginning. One resident said he heard two voices earlier in the night, low, controlled, careful not to carry. That detail mattered because people who intend to escalate usually don't control their volume. Another insisted the victim had been alone all evening, which told me more about perception than reality. A third described seeing someone on the roof hours earlier, standing too still. That phrase stayed with me longer than any other detail. Stillness has context. In a waiting room, it means patience. On a rooftop, in the middle of the night, it means purpose. The victim's background gave me nothing useful. No enemies loud enough to survive him, no disputes that carried weight, no reason to meet anyone on that roof. That absence becomes its own form of evidence. When there is no reason for the meeting itself becomes the reason. That's when the case began to shift from something personal to something constructed. I stood at that ledge longer than I should have, not because I needed more evidence, but because something about the scene felt incomplete. Not incomplete in a procedural sense, but incomplete in intention. It didn't feel like the end of something. It felt like the beginning of something that hadn't revealed itself yet. I knew he hadn't gone over by choice. I knew someone had been with him in the last private seconds of his life. And I knew that whoever stood on that roof understood something most people never think about. That murder can be shaped to look almost accidental if you control it tightly enough. But what unsettled me wasn't what I knew. It was what I felt. I didn't leave that building believing I had seen the conclusion of a crime. I left believing I had seen the first clear sentence in something that had already been written, something that didn't feel finished, something that didn't feel satisfied. Because 2 nights later, the city didn't repeat the crime. It answered it.
Thank you for watching this episode. We will be back tomorrow night with our 3rd installment of tonight's case.